Sunday finals of the 2023 Indiana Swimming Age Group Short Course Championship, sponsored by Speedo. I'm Eric Eaton, and I'm joined by the Executive Director of Indiana Swimming, Tony Young. Start this final session here at the IU Natatorium. We're going to get started with 13-14. Get started with the 13-14 boys 400-yard individual medley. 5 heats of time finals. This is a time final event, so the overall winner can come out of any one of these 5 heats. The fastest seeded heat will swim tonight with finals. In heat 1, lane 1, it'll be Josh Lawrence, 13-year-old from the Southeastern Swim Club. Lane 2, Eric Yu, 13-year-old from Boilermaker Aquatics. Lane 3, Charlie Christensen, 13-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 4 is Landon Gillespie, 13-year-old from LaPorte. Lane 5, Bryce Salvadori, 13-year-old from the Southeastern Swim Club. Lane 6, Noah Sharp, 13-year-old from Flashes Aquatics. Lane 7, Cam Lasley, 13-year-old from Capital Aquatics. And lane 8, Reese Dumkowski, 13-year-old from the Fort Wayne swim team. So 400 IM, 100 yards of each stroke discipline. Getting it started with the butterfly here. Meet record held by Lancaster of Carmel, set in 2021, 3:54.67. Heat 1 of 5, time finals, 13-14 boys, 400-yard IM. Heat 5 will swim tonight in the final session, which will start at 4:30 p.m. here at the IU Natatorium. At the conclusion of the butterfly leg in this opening heat. In lane 3, it's Charlie Christensen from Irish Aquatics. He went out in a 1:03.41. We're on the backstroke leg right now of heat 1. This is the final day of competition at the 2023 Indiana Swimming Age Group Short Course Championships, sponsored by Speedo. Christensen continuing to lead in lane 3, making a move though at the bottom of your screen in lane 8 is Reese Dumkowski. Lane 8 is at the bottom of your screen here at the IU Natatorium. Lane 1 will be at the top of your screen. And Reese has taken over the lead in lane 8, halfway through the backstroke leg, just a little past halfway. We'll keep our eye on this next leg, the breaststroke leg. 100 yards of breaststroke is a lot of time for breaststroke specialists to make their move. Dumkowski, lane 8, bottom of your screen. He continues to lead as he transitions to breaststroke, the third leg of the 4 here in this 400-yard IM. Looks like in lane 3, Christensen's now being challenged by Eric Yu right next to him from Boilermaker for second spot in this heat. After the opening lap of breaststroke. Lane 1 looks to be making a move too. That's Josh Lawrence from Southeastern. Good 3-way battle for the second top of your screen lanes 1, 2, and 3. Lane 8, Dumkowski continues to lead halfway through the breaststroke leg from Fort Wayne. And then you take a look at that 3-way battle for second at the top of your screen. Then we've got a 3-way battle for fifth as well, lanes 5, 6, and 7. So there's races within the race here, which often happens in some of our longer events. And this is a time final, so every spot you can pick up could mean an extra place in an extra point scoring position for your team. Is at the bottom of your screen, Reese Dumkowski touches, starts the freestyle leg. It's the final leg of the 400 IM in lane 8. In second place now at the top of your screen is lane 1 from Josh Lawrence. So our top 2 swimmers in this heat are on the outside lanes 8 and 1. Great battle for second still. Lawrence in 1 and Yu in 2. Domkowski's about ready to turn and start the final 50 here in lane 8. He split a 32.69. Eric Yu at a 32.02 in lane 2 is quicker by about 0.6. So see if he's got anything left on this final lap to chase down Domkowski in this opening heat, who still leads in lane 8. Coming to the wall, looks like Reese is going to hang on, take the win in this opening heat. Reese Domkowski for Fort Wayne goes a 4:40.71. That's nearly a 10-second drop from his seed time. Second place was Eric Yu, 4:41.24, and third place was Charlie Christensen, 4:43.32. So 4:40.71 is your time to beat, as we're going to head to the second of 5 time finals heats in event 58, 13-14 boys, 400-yard IM. In heat 2, lane 1 will be Quentin Upshaw, 13-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 2, Christopher Dibley, 13-year-old from Northridge area. Swimming Association. Lane 3, Landon Lewis, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 4 is Lucas Barnes, 14-year-old from the Crown Point Swim Club. Lane 5, Eli Coomer, 14-year-old from Capital Aquatics. Lane 6, Austin Carlisle, 13-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 7, Max Barnes, 13-year-old from Irish Aquatics. And then lane 8, Shane Kelly, 13-year-old from the Brownsburg Swim Club. Christopher Dibley, pretty sizable lead after the opening 50 on the butterfly leg in lane 2. 3/4 of a body length lead or so. Battle for second in the middle of the pool here. Barnes in 4 and Coomer in 5. Opening leg of the 400 IM butterfly. Dibley, the leader in heat 2, starts the backstroke leg. And he is in lane 2. Battle for second still continues there as we start the backstroke leg between Barnes in 4 and Coomer in 5. So far, Christopher Dibley in lane 2 has been in control of this heat. He'll have a little more than a body length lead as he starts the breaststroke leg of the IM, does the back to breast flip turn. Or excuse me, he's halfway through the backstroke leg. He's still underway on the back. 50, little more than 25 yards to go on the backstroke leg. Then he'll do the transition to breaststroke. Now Christopher Dibley starts the breaststroke leg in lane 2 as the leader. The rest of the field right together behind Chris Dibley. 25 yards through the breaststroke leg. See if anybody's closing on Chris. Yeah, it appears that the breaststrokers are coming on, particularly lane 1 here. Quentin Upshaw from Fishers area moving right up on Dibley. Looks like he's going to go around him now. Also in lane 5, here comes Eli Coomer. He's moved into second. And moving into third in lane 7 is Max Barnes. So as quite often is the case in the 400 IM on the breaststroke, the positions change, and they have here. It is Quentin Upshaw in lane 1 from Fishers area who's really moved ahead of the field here on the breaststroke leg. Second place in lane 5 is Eli Coomer. So Upshaw in lane 1 is going to start the freestyle leg while everybody else is finishing breaststroke. That'll be an advantage. He starts the freestyle, as does Coomer now in lane 5. Time to beat is 4:40.71, posted by Reese Domkowski in the opening heat here, 13-14 boys, 400-yard individual medley time final. Also, there's a separate webcast going on in the North competition pool right now on the Indiana Swimming YouTube channel. The girls prelims, you're watching the South competition pool at the IU Natatorium, which is all the boys prelim races this morning on Sunday. And Quentin Upshaw in lane 1 is going to have still continue to lead with 50 yards to go in the 400 IM here. Coming on though here in lane 6 is Carlisle from Fisher's area. He's moved into second place. Final turn for him. See if he can chase down his teammate Upshaw on the last 25 here. Upshaw in lane 1. Coming on in lane 7 too, Max Barnes. And it looks like Austin Carlisle in lane 6 is going to take the win in the second heat from Fisher's area. He does. 4:36.80. And that moves him into first place in the competition. Second place in the heat, Quentin Upshaw, 4:38.32. Third place in the heat, Max Barnes, 4:39.23. Heat 3 now. We'll have one more heat of time finals in this session. 13-14 boys, 400-yard IM. In lane 1, Grant Weir, 13-year-old from Jasper Aquatic. Lane 2, Dylan Long, 14-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 3, Gabriel Wang, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 4, Isaac Wheeler, 14-year-old from the Otters. Lane 5, Preston Lamp, 13-year-old from Newburgh Sea Creatures. Lane 7, Isaac Michael, 14-year-old from Capital Aquatics. Lane 7, Sam Hole, 14-year-old Carmel Swim Club. And lane 8, Alden Seals, a 14-year-old from the Southeastern Swim Club. Opening 50 of Butterfly is complete. In lane 1, top of your screen, Grant Weir with the lead. Heat prior to this, we saw the heat winner come from behind, and he took the lead on the last leg, the freestyle leg. That was Austin Carlisle. We'll see what happens here in this heat. Is Weir is going to lead at the top of your screen after the butterfly leg, ahead of Isaac Michael, or excuse me, Sam Hole in lane 7. Start the backstroke. Hole is still in second place. He's being challenged for that spot here in lane 8 by Seals. We're halfway through the backstroke leg with Grant Weir still out in front in lane 1 from Jasper Aquatic. He's got a real nice efficient tempo, does Weir, on that backstroke, top of your screen. Grant's going to lead, going to the breaststroke leg in lane 1, and second place in lane 7, Sam Hull. Third place in lane 8, Alden Seal. So we'll watch our breaststroke specialists, if there are any in this heat, see if anybody makes a move. Or perhaps the leaders are the breaststroke specialists. We'll see. Grant has just been solid on each of the first 2 strokes. Butterfly, backstroke. We'll see what happens here on the breaststroke. He's solid on this stroke, this one as well. I would imagine he'll keep the lead going to the freestyle leg. And he's still got a pretty nice lead in lane 1 halfway through the breaststroke leg. Looks like making a little bit of move on breaststroke in lane 3 here is Gabriel Wang from Carmel. He's moving up, trying to battle Seals in lane 8 for third. But again, Grant Weir has just been what you want to be in the IM. Just solid in every stroke discipline so far. No one's gained any ground on him really on the breaststroke leg. And he's going to have a huge lead going to freestyle leg in lane 1. Second place in lane 7 here is Sam Hull. And moving into third now on the breaststroke leg in lane 3, Gabriel Wong, as he starts the freestyle. We'll see if he can get up there and battle Hall, his teammate on this final leg, the freestyle leg, for second place. Nobody's going to catch Grant Weir here in this third heat. We'll see if Grant moves into the lead. The time to beat is 4:36.80. 50 yards to go for Grant in lane 1. A timed final here, so even though Grant Weir is in heat 3, got a chance to really move up and score some big points for his team in this event with this swim. He's going to move into first place by a wide margin here. Grant Weir goes a 4:24.29. And his seed time was a 4:41, so a big drop there in the seat from the seed time for Grant. Sam Hull second in the heat, 4:33.47. And getting third was Gabriel Wang in a time of 4:36.24. So Grant Weir has posted a good time, 4:24.29, a time that's probably going to factor in to the top 8, looking at the seed times for our 8 fastest swimmers, which will be to swim tonight with finals in heat 5. So we'll keep an eye on that tonight during finals to see where Grant places in the final standings. Heat 4 now, 13-14 boys 400-yard IM time final. In lane 1, Joshua Selyu-Hitsky, 13-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 2, Aiden Clark, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 3 will be Jackson Pyle, 14-year-old from the Summit City Aquatics. In lane 3, lane 4, William Allen, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 5, Corey Hahn, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 6 is Austin Bruford, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 7, Garrett Thomas, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. And in lane 8, Alex Harrell, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Well, it actually looks like that they have actually, the 5th heat is actually not going to be the fastest seeded heat. It looks like they've actually circle seeded these heats, the last 2 here, for 13-14 boys, 400-yard IM, even though heat 5 will swim with in finals, as William Allen is the second fastest seeded swimmer in lane 4 in the event here. Even so, the 4:24.29 at Grant Weir is a strong time and might very well factor into the top 8 tonight. We'll again set that up for you this evening. On the backstroke leg here, in lane 4, it is William Allen from Carmel Swim Club. As we said, he's the second fastest seeded swimmer in this event. Came in with a seed time of 4:13.11. Your top seed. Now it looks like he is the top seeded swimmer. It looks like your number 2 seed, Alexander Reese, will swim tonight in finals. Breaststroke leg here. William Allen, lane 4, continuing to lead. Second place in lane 5 is Corey Hahn, both individuals from the Carmel Swim Club. Corey just about a body length behind Allen now. Halfway through the breaststroke leg. And third place in lane 3 here is Jackson Pyle from Summit City. William Allen, a 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. About ready to start the freestyle leg, 13-14 boys, 400-yard IM, 4th heat of 5 in the time finals event. Meet record 3:54.67. It's also the association record set by Lancaster of Carmel in 2021. I don't think we're going to see that meet record challenged in either this session or the evening session, but you never know. 50 to go for Allen now in lane 4. Allen has really pulled away on the freestyle leg from his teammate Corey Hahn here. And Allen is going to set the time to beat for our final heat tonight. In finals, Allen will swim a 4:08:31. Second place in the heat was Corey Hahn, 4:12:50 from the Carmel Swim Club, and getting third in lane 3 with Jackson Pyle on a time of 4:22:17. Again, the 5th heat will swim tonight with finals. We're going to move to event 60 now, 11-12 boys, 100-yard breaststroke prelims. 5 heats of prelims. The top 16 times will move into finals tonight. 8 in the consolation heat and 8 in the finals heat. In heat 1, in lane 3, it'll be Seth Larimer, 12-year-old from Elkhart United Aquatics. Lane 4, Grayson Wells, 11-year-old from Irish Aquatics. In lane 5, Jack Felver, 11-year-old from GCAT. GCAT is Greenfield Community. Halfway through this opening heat, Wells in lane 4 from Irish out in front. 5 heats of prelim swims here, 11-12 boys, 100-yard breaststroke. Meet record set in 2019 by Lancaster of Carmel. It's also the association record, the time 1:03:20. Grayson Wells from Irish appears like he's going to take this opening heat. 11-12 boys, 100-yard breaststroke. And does so in a time of 1:19:72. Second place to Jack Felver, 1:20:58. On to heat 2 now as we'll use flyover starts here on these preliminary heats. In heat 2, lane 1, Cannon Swinert, 11-year-old from Warsaw Aquatic. Lane 2 will be Jacob Kobylarczyk, 11-year-old from Valparaiso Swim Club. Lane 3, Asher Allen, 11-year-old from the Pike Township Swim Club. Lane 4, Andrew Espiritu Jorsic, 11-year-old from Munster Swim Club. Lane 5, Hudson Wilhelm, 11-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Lane 6, Jackson Clem, 11-year-old from Greater Evansville. And lane 7, Alden Thomas, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. 4 lengths to the pool breaststroke. Good opening 50 battle between lanes 4 and 5. Espiritu Jorsic and Wilhelm in 5. Wilhelm with about a half a body length lead as he's heading towards the touchpad to finish the race here. In heat 2, he's going to win the heat in a time of 1:15:86. Second place, lane 4, Espiritu Jorsic, 1:06:97. Third place, Kobylarczyk in lane 2, 1:17:96. Heat 3 now. Lane 1 will be Lucian Sipe, 12-year-old from the Fort Wayne swim team. Lane 2, Gabriel Marchione, 12-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. Lane 3, Brian Huang, 12-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. Lane 4, Jackson Barnes, 12-year-old from Crown Point Swim Club. Lane 5, Landon Williams, 11-year-old from Elkhart United. Lane 6 will be Jaden G, 12-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Lane 7, Seth Thomas, 12-year-old from Milan Aquatics. And then lane 8, Luke Brahmas, 11-year-old from Riviera. At the halfway mark in lane 3, it's Brian Wong. Out in a 33.76.
Coaches and swimmers, just a heads up that there'll be a 5-minute break after heat 5 of 11-12 boys on the breaststroke representing the sophomore. Before we head into the next,
Looks like Yuang in lane 3 still with the lead. Closing here in lanes 4 and 5 are Barnes and Williams at the finish. Brian Yuang takes the win in lane 3, 1:11.95 for Brian. Second place, Jaden G in a time of 1:12.54. Heat 4, lane 1, Francis Huang, 11-year-old from Carmel Swim Club. Lane 2, Justin Yang, 12-year-old from Portage Porpoise. Lane 3, Lucas Steffen, 12-year-old from Franklin Regional. Lane 4, Joshua Pendleton, 12-year-old from Club Olympia. Lane 5, Braylon O'Leary, 12-year-old from Franklin Regional. Lane 6, Blake Hadley, the 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 7, Brecken Luckett, 11-year-old from Fort Wayne. And lane 8, Jake Gio, 11-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. This is heat 4 of 5, 11-12 boys, 100-yard breaststroke prelim swims. Here this morning on Sunday morning from the IU Natatorium. Halfway mark here in lane 5, O'Leary with the lead. Goes out in a 34.19. Coming off the wall strong, though, in lane 4, just above him, was Joshua Pendleton. It's like he's taken over the lead from Club Olympia. Up in lane 2, a strong second 50 for Justin Yang. At the wall, it's going to be Joshua Pendleton winning the heat in time of 1:11.96. And that is the second fastest swim so far by 1/100th of a second. Brian Huang from the previous heat has the fastest time. Second place in this heat, heat 4, is Braylon O'Leary in lane 5, 1:12.44. Fifth and final heat, 11-12 boys, 100-yard breaststroke prelims. In lane 1, Cole Evans, 12-year-old from Lake Central Barracudas. Lane 2 is Dylan Van Sant, 12-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. Lane 3, Mac Allen, 12-year-old from Carmel Swim Club. Lane 4, Matthew Quadros, 12-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Lane 5, Jackson Russell, 12-year-old from Plainfield Community. Lane 6 is Lucas Kuhn, 12-year-old from the Rochester Royals. Lane 7, Elijah Fishman, 12-year-old from Fishers Area. And in lane 8, Edward Enoch, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. In lane 4, Matthew Quadros from Center Grove Aquatic Club is the top seed in this event with a seed time of 1:08.71. And he's going to have the lead at the halfway mark here. In second place in lane 5 is Jackson Russell. $111.95 is what Matthew needs to beat if he wants to be the top seed tonight in finals and get himself a spot in lane 4. Quadros still leading Russell, making a move now. In lane 3 here is Mac Allen from the Carmel Swim Club on breaststroke. Win's going to go to Matthew Quadros in lane 4. He goes a 1:06.68. 2-second drop from his seat time for Matthew. And Jackson Russell second, time of 1:09.95. Third place, Mac Allen, 1:10.49. Quadros will be your top seed in finals tonight. 11-12 boys, 100-yard breaststroke championship final. Our next event here will be event 62, 13-14 boys 100-yard breaststroke prelims. 6 heats of prelims, with Lancaster of Carmel holding the meet record set in 2021, 57-12. Association record set by Malicki of Carmel Swim Club in 2020, 56-84. And it looks like they're going to take a brief break here in the competition. Think of about 5 minutes or so, then we'll get event 62, 13-14 boys 100-yard breaststroke underway. Our broadcast of the 2023 Indiana Swimming Age Group Short Course Championships is sponsored by Speedo. Speedo is an official sponsor of the Indiana Swimming LSC in all championship meets, and by the Ellsmore Swim Shop. The Ellsmore Swim Shop is the official supplier and sponsor of Indiana Swimming and Team Indiana. Carmel Swim Club has been our host for this meet here in 2023 here at the Indiana Swimming Age Group Short Course Championships. Thanks to them. Meet directors Beth Russo, Matt Street, and Cynthia Baldiff. Entry chair Chris Conley. Also want to thank all our officials at the meet this weekend. Meet referee Judy Hauser, administrative referee Brenda Fisher. Indiana Swimming would like to wish all this weekend's competitors good luck and fast times. Indiana Swimming creating opportunities for swimmers to realize their dreams. So we're getting ready here shortly for event 62, 13-14 boys in the 100-yard breaststroke prelims. We're in the South competition pool on this webcast this morning on the Indiana Swimming YouTube channel. All boys prelim swims in this pool. North pool, a separate webcast is underway of the girls prelim races on Sunday morning. After event 62, we'll move to event 64, 11-12 boys 200-yard freestyle prelims. Event 66 then, 13-14 boys 200 freestyle prelim swims. On to event 68, 11-12 boys 50-yard backstroke prelims. Event 70, 13-14 boys 200-yard backstroke prelim swims. And then we're going to finish it out with all time final swims here on our webcast on the South Pool this morning. Event 74, 11-12 boys 200-yard freestyle relay. Event 76 next, 13-14 boys in a 400-yard freestyle relay. Then our last event in this session this morning will be event 72, 13-14 boys 1,000-yard freestyle time final. And then finals tonight will start at 4:30 p.m. on the Indiana Swimming YouTube channel. Half an hour earlier than we have been starting, so 4:30 tonight. We've also got a 10 and under session here this afternoon as well. Start time on that will be 1:30 p.m.
And we are just about 2 minutes away from starting.
We're a couple minutes away from getting event 62 underway. 13-14 boys 100-yard breaststroke. Prelim swims.
Coming up on 1 minute away from the start of event 62.
We're going to have 6 heats of prelims here in event 62, 13-14 boys 100-yard breaststroke. 3 swimmers in this opening heat.
hear the results of preliminary swims. 11 and 12 boys running the breaststroke. Second on in Wilhelm. First on in Kuhn. In the consolation final heat, Evans, Thomas, Barnes, Syke, Hanley, Stefan, Young, and Williams. The championship final heat of 11 and 12 boys running breaststroke. G, O'Leary, and Sam Pendleton. Quillen, Island, Russell. The top seed for the Center Road Aquatic Club. Matthew Progress, the time of 106.68. Time now 9:36. 30-minute scratch wheel in effect for event number 60.
All right, here we go with heat 1 now. 13-14 boys, 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 3, it'll be Tate Knobloch, 13-year-old from Summit City. Lane 4, Nick McCoy, 13-year-old from the Greenwood Gators. In lane 5, Jackson Pyle, 14-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 5 with the lead here, it's Jackson Pyle from Summit City. Pyle with the win, 104.46. And McCoy, 108.12, second place. Heat 2 now. In lane 1, it'll be Gabe Argyris, 14-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Lane 2, Eli Coomer, 14-year-old from Capital Aquatics. Lane 3, Nicholas Norton, 14-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 4, Joshua Noss, 14-year-old from Noblesville Swim Club. Lane 5, Tommy Cospade, 13-year-old from the Valparaiso Swim Club. Lane 6 is Kalen Swinehart, 14-year-old from Warsaw Aquatic. Lane 7, Connor Fletchall, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. And lane 8, Josh Lawrence, 13-year-old from the Southeastern Swim Club. Joshua Noss in lane 4, a top-seeded swimmer in this heat, but right now in the lead in lane 5 here is Tommy Cospade from Valparaiso. Cospade will win the heat in lane 5 in a time of 104.76. Second place, Nicholas Norton in lane 3, 105.76. Heat 3, lane 1, Jogba Pogba, 14-year-old from Pacesetter Aquatics. Lane 2 is Isaac Michael, 14-year-old from Capital Aquatics. Lane 3, Dean Papakronis, 14-year-old from the Valparaiso Swim Club. Lane 4, Tim Hampton, 14-year-old from the Lake Central Barracudas. Lane 5, Griffin Barents Froman, 14-year-old from Westfield Aquatics. Lane 6, Nathan Whitaker, 13-year-old from the Newburgh Sea Creatures. Lane 7, Curtis Markowski, 14-year-old from Irish Aquatics. And in lane 8, Hagan Lee, 14-year-old from Fishers area. Papakronis from Valparaiso out in front halfway through this heat in lane 3.
Coaches, relay cards are given 2 minutes. If you have not turned in your relay cards, you need to do so as quickly as possible.
Papakronis will win this heat in lane 3 in a time of 103.69 for Dean. It's the fastest time so far. We're here in heat 3 of 6 preliminary heat swims. Second place in lane 5, Barents Froman in that heat. We move now to heat 4 of 6, 13-14 boys 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 1, Gareth Thomas, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 2 is Emmanuel Jackson, 14-year-old from Greenwood Gators. Lane 3, Isaac Johnson, 14-year-old from the Brownsburg Swim Club. Lane 4, Corey Hahn, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 5 will be Rocco Tajik, 14-year-old from Boilermaker. Lane 6, Quentin Upshaw, 13-year-old from Fishers Area. Lane 7, Braden Briggs, 14-year-old from the Highland Hurricanes. And in lane 8, Cameron Mazdai, 13-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Rocco Tajik in 5 with the lead, halfway mark. And Rocco's going to take the win in lane 5, 101.97. That's the fastest time so far. Second place, Corey Hahn, 102.48. On to heat 5 now. Of 6 preliminary heats. In lane 1 in heat 5, Nathan Sackett, 13-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 2, Takaru Wheatley, 13-year-old from Riverside Aquatics Club. Lane 3, Charlie Brewer, 14-year-old Power Aquatics. Lane 4, William Allen, 14-year-old Carmel Swim Club. Lane 5, Brogan Wilson, 14-year-old from East Central Swim Team. Lane 6, Preston Lamp, 13-year-old from Newburgh Sea Creatures. Lane 7, Eli Roboloff, 14-year-old from Capital Aquatics. And lane 8, Sebastian Granados, a 14-year-old from Washington Township Swim Club. William Allen with the lead in lane 4. Yeah, looks like Allen's going to take the heat. He will. Time of 101.90, so that's the fastest time with one heat to go. Second place, Brogan Wilson does a 102.69. He was in lane 5. Sixth and final heat of prelims now. 13-14 boys 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 1, Gabriel Wang, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 2, Joey Rozic, 14-year-old from Valparaiso Swim Club. Lane 3, Isaiah Winko, 14-year-old from Decatur Township. Lane 4, Alexander Reese, 14-year-old from Franklin Regional. Lane 5, James Hench, 13-year-old from Fort Wayne. Lane 6 is Josh Brown, 14-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 7 is Rush Curry, 14-year-old from Tri-West Swim Club. And in lane 8, Evan Ray, 13-year-old from the Pendleton Swim Club. And Rees in lane 4 has the lead at the halfway mark. He's the top seeded swimmer in the event. Seed time 59.50. And Reese will win the final heat in a time of 1:00:26, so he'll be the fastest seeded swimmer in finals tonight. Second place will be Isaiah Winko, 101.62. And it looks like they're going to take another break here in the South Pool. A courtesy break of about 3 minutes here in our competition. Then we'll resume with event 64, 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle. So we'll be back with the call of those preliminary races. There's 6 heats of them in about 3 minutes or so. All right, event 64, 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle prelims. 6 heats of prelims. In heat 1 in lane 3, it'll be Alden Thomas, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 4 will be Dylan Van Sant, 12-year-old rather, from Indiana Swim Club. And in lane 5, Kiari Slater, 12-year-old from Zionsville Swim Club. Meet record set in 1993 by Mallory, 149.26. Louis Zhang holds the association record. It was set in 2020, 148.16 is that time. Heat 1 of 6 prelim heats here. In lane 3, it's Alden Thomas out, in lane 4, it's Dylan Van Sant from Indiana Swim Club leading. 56.65 through the halfway mark. $50 yards to go for Van Sant out in front in this opening heat. 13-14 or 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle. So for Dylan Van Sant, the winning time in the opening heat, 2:01.09. Second place, Kiari Slater, 2:06.08. 2:01.09, a really good time from the opening heat. Heat 2 now. In lane 1, Bryce Connor, 11-year-old from Noblesville Swim Club. Lane 2, Pradesh Satish Kumar, 11-year-old from Avon Community. Lane 3, Carter Kellett, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 4, Tyler Johnson, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 5, Asher Allen, 11-year-old from Pike Township. Lane 6, Luke Ramos, 11-year-old from Riviera. Lane 7 will be Ruben Papavicu, 11-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. And in lane 8, Joshua Nuger, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 8, Nuger had the lead from Carmel after the opening 50. Event 64, 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle prelims. Halfway mark, it looks like the lead will go to Luke Ramos from Riviera. He's out in a 1:02.07 is Luke. And challenged for the lead in the heat here in lane 4 by Tyler Johnson of Carmel Swim Club. Both 11-year-olds. Brahma still leading with a 50 to go in lane 6.
Parents, don't forget that if you have any pre-orders on Spirit Wear, you need to swing by the boot club in the outer concourse area and pick that up. If you didn't pre-order anything, they have limited supplies of various sizes.
It's like taking the lead now in lane 4 is Tyler Johnson from the Carmel Swim Club coming to the finish here. He's going to win this heat, heat 2, and his time at 2:07.58. And second place went to Luke Brahmas, 2:08.34. On to heat 3. Lane 1, Brady Ledeen, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 2 is Jason Yang, 11-year-old from Boilermaker. Lane 3, Jackson Teskey, 12-year-old from Noblesville Swim Club. Lane 4, Kingston Schneider, 11-year-old from the Boonville Dolphins. Lane 5, Zachy Actor, 12-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 6, Henry Patterson, 12-year-old from the Valparaiso Swim Club. Lane 7, Ian Mendoza, 11-year-old from Duneland. And Lane 8, Wyatt Jones, the 11-year-old from Greater Evansville. Heat 3 is 6 preliminary heats. 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle. Akhtar in lane 5 from Fishers area has the lead at the opening 50. He goes out in 27.81. More than a body length lead for him. Halfway mark. Akhtar still in the lead. 1:00:33 for his opening 100. Second place in lane 4 right above him, Kingston Schneider. Split a 1:02.95 for his opening 100. .50 to go now for Zachy Akhtar. Lane 5 from Fishers area. It looks like moving into second place now in lane 6 is Henry Patterson from Valparaiso Swim Club. And we've got 4 other swimmers right there with him in that battle for second. Nice swim here in lane 5 by Zachy Akhtar from Fishers area. See what he stops the clock at to win the heat. And he does so in a time of 2:07.76. Second place is going to be Henry Patterson from Valparaiso, time of 2:10.40. On to heat 4 of 6 preliminary heats. This will be the first of 3 circle seated heats. In lane 1, Logan Sr., 12-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 2, Braylon O'Leary, 12-year-old from Franklin Regional. Lane 3, Andrew Bowling, 12-year-old from Capital Aquatics. Lane 4, Cooper McQueeston, 12-year-old from Oak Hill Swim Club. Lane 5, Oliver Inabnet, 12-year-old from Franklin Regional. Lane 6, Hudson Wenrick, 12-year-old from Carmel Swim Club. Lane 7, Brecken Martin, 12-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. And in lane 8, Jaden G., 12-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Big early lead after the opening 50 here in lane 4 for Cooper McQueeston from Oak Hill. He has one of the 3 fastest seed times in the event. See what Cooper's halfway split is here in lane 4. 56-52, battle for second, lanes 5 and 6 in the heat here. And Nabnet lane 8 involved as well. 3 swimmers, lane 8, 5, and 6. G in 8 has second place, but Nabnet and Wenrick are closely following him in that battle for second. In fact, they might have gone around him here. With a 50 to go, Cooper McQueeston still in the lead in lane 4 and in control of the heat so far. In second place now in lane 5 is Oliver Inabnet from Franklin Regional. And Oliver's looks like he's a little quicker than Cooper. Gaining on him a little bit. I don't think he's got enough time left and enough pool to chase him down. And Oliver's in a battle for second himself with Wenrick in lane 6 coming to the finish here in heat 4. The win's going to go to Cooper McQueeston. 2:01.66 for Cooper. Second place is Hudson Wenrick, 2:02.51. 2:02.97 for Oliver Inabnet. So in our opening heat, Dylan Van Sant from Indiana Swim Club swam a 2:01.09. That's still your fastest time. As we move to heat 5 now, the time final. 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle. In lane 1, Lin Ru An, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 2, Rohan Severs, 12-year-old Summit City Aquatics. Lane 3, Lucas Steffen, 12-year-old from Franklin Regional. Lane 4, Austin Pritz, 12-year-old from Boilermaker. Lane 5, Andrew Schreier, 12-year-old from the Brownsburg Swim Club. Lane 6, Victor Martin, 11-year-old from Flashes Aquatics. Lane 7, Wes Brooks, 12-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. And in lane 8, Max Schroeder, 11-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. Pritz with the early lead in lane 4 after the opening 50, out in a 27.92. He's the second fastest seated swimmer in the event. Seat time 2:02.02. At the halfway mark, Pritz is going to split a 58.41. In second place in lane 5, Andrew Schreier, halfway split for him, 1:00.03. $50 to go now for Pritz in lane 4. Continues to lead Andrew Schreier in the heat. It's Andrew in lane 5. We'll see if Andrew gets a battle here for second spot before this heat is over. Victor Martin in lane 6 looks like he's trying to close a little bit on Andrew. But Pritz is going to win heat 5 in lane 4. We'll see if he sets the new fastest time in these prelim swims to this point. And he will. He's the new fastest time at a time of 2:00.41 for Austin Pritz. Second place, Andrew Schreier from the 2:04.62. Sixth and final heat now. In lane 1, Ethan Cummins, 12-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 2, Trevor Smith, 11-year-old from Franklin Regional. Lane 3 will be Everett Heiser, 12-year-old from Zionsville Swim Club. Lane 4, Joshua Pendleton, 12-year-old from Club Olympia. Lane 5, Landon Williams, 11-year-old from Elkhart United. Lane 6, Colby Sewell, 12-year-old from Flashes Aquatics. Lane 7 is Cooper Glenser, 12-year-old from Jay County Swim Club. And in lane 8, Sawyer Green Whitehead, 12-year-old from Southeastern Swim Club. Your top seed in the event is in lane 4, Joshua Pendleton. And he comes in with a seed time of 1:53.12. He doesn't need to swim that fast to take the top seed going to prelims tonight. He just needs to swim right around 2 minutes. He's got the lead right now. Does Pendleton. Half a body length lead over Everett Heiser, who's in lane 3. Get Joshua Pendleton split time here at the 100-yard mark in lane 4, and it's 56.49, 57.72 for Heiser. Right there in that battle for second, though, with Heiser is Landon Williams in lane 5 from Elkhart United. $50 to go now for Pendleton, the leader in lane 4. Moving into second on this last 50 here was Landon Williams from Elkhart. Pendleton's going to be the top seed tonight in this event, the 200-yard freestyle for 11-12 boys. His winning time in this heat, 1:57.25. Second place was Landon Williams in the heat with a time of 2:01.12. Next up now is event 66, 13-14 boys 200-yard freestyle prelims. 6 heats of prelims. Meet and association record is held by Michael Brenninger. That time was set at this meet in 2014, 1:40.69. And of course, we've talked about Michael on the webcast several times so far. Throughout this weekend, Michael swam for the United States Olympic team in 2021 in Tokyo. Six heats of prelims here. In heat 1, in lane 3, Isaiah Bose, 13-year-old from the Noblesville Swim Club. Lane 4 is Moses Weaver, 13-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. And in lane 5, Michael Zhao, 13-year-old from Avon Community. Bose leads after the opening 50 in lane 3 from Noblesville. The top seeded swimmer in this event will be in heat 6. It's Leo Nye from Irish. His seat time of 1:47.14. Isaiah Bose leads at the halfway mark, out in a 56.06. A 50 to go now. Isaiah Vo's lead has been cut down a little bit to Michael Zhao making a run at him here from Avon Community in lane 5. Final turn. So this opening heat is going to be decided between Vose in 3 and Zhao in 5. Coming underneath the flags. Michael Zhao is going to win it in heat 5 in a time of 1:55.78. Heat 2 now. In lane 1, Austin Carlisle, 13-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 2, Charlie Brewer, 14-year-old from Power Aquatics. Lane 3 is Dean Papakronis, 14-year-old from Valparaiso Swim Club. Lane 4, Grant Weir, 13-year-old from Jasper Aquatic. Lane 5, Rocco Tajic, 14-year-old Boilermaker Aquatics. Lane 6, Reed Johnson, a 14-year-old also from Boilermaker. Lane 7, Connor Fletchall, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. And in lane 8, Harry Bruner, 13-year-old from Concord Swim Club. Heat 2 of 6 preliminary heats in 13-14 boys, 200-yard freestyle. Two athletes from Boilermaker right out together, lanes 5 and 6 at the 50 turn. Rocco Tajic in lane 5 officially with the lead.
Here are the results of preliminary swims. 11 and 12 boys, 200 freestyles.
The 100-yard mark. Tajic and Reed Johnson still right together. It's officially still Rocco with the lead. He split a 54.77 in the opening 100. He's in lane 5.
Time now 10:07. 30-minute scratch roll. For event number 64.
50 to go now for Rocco. He's led all the way. Rocco Tajic from Boilermaker. Reed Johnson still in second. In third place at the top of your screen is Austin Carlisle in lane 1. Rocco is going to take the heat in lane 5 in a time of 1:53.48. Second place, Reed Johnson, also from Boilermaker, in a time of 1:54.29. On to heat 3. In lane 1, Will Greenlee, 14-year-old from Fort Wayne Swim Team. Lane 3, Camden Bailey, 14-year-old from the Southeastern Swim Club. Lane 3, Jaga Pagwa, 14-year-old from Pace Setter. Lane 4, Isaac Keller, 14-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 5 is Tucker Whetstone, 14-year-old from Tippecanoe Valley. Lane 6, Eli Dollins, 14-year-old from the Zionsville Swim Club. Lane 7, Eli Roboloth, 14-year-old from Capital Aquatics. And in lane 8, Sawyer Wells, 13-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Good start here in lane 7 by Roboloth from Capital. He has a body length lead after the opening 50. He's going out after it strong here. This is heat 3 of 6, 13-14 boys, 200-yard freestyle prelims. And at the 100 mark, Roboloth will maintain the body length advantage. He's out in a 53.39. The rest of the field bunched up right behind him. 6 wide right behind him. Roboloth still with that body length lead with a 50 to go here in lane 7. In second place, though, in lane 8 is Sawyer Wells. He's trying to chase Eli down here on this final 50. He's making a run at it, too. Sawyer is in lane 8. Coming to the wall here. We're going to have quite a battle here in this heat. It looks like Sawyer Wells is going to get around him right at the finish. He does, to win the heat from Irish Aquatics in a time of 1:52.28. Eli Roboloth second, 1:52.43. So Wells has the fastest time so far as we move into heat 4. In lane 1, it'll be Joey Rozic, 14-year-old from the Valparaiso Swim Club. Lane 2, Austin Bruford, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 3, Bryce Lowe, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 4, Garrett Klein, 14-year-old from Newburgh Sea Creatures. Lane 5, Isaac Johnson, 14-year-old from Brownsburg. Lane 6, Alex Westling, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 7, Benjamin Lopez, 14-year-old from Summit City. And lane 8, Eli Coomer, 14-year-old from Capital Aquatics. Garrett Klein from Newburgh out in front at the completion of the opening 50. And Klein's going to maintain the lead here at the halfway mark. In lane 4, his 100 split is 52.51. Bryce Lowe is in second in lane 3. He split at 53.16. .50 to go for Klein. Out in front in lane 4, still over Bryce Lowe. Heat 4 here, 13-14 boys, 200-yard freestyle. And Klein's going to go wire to wire here in this heat. Winning time for Garrett, 1:49.59. That's the fastest time so far. Second place, Bryce Lowe, in a time of 1:50.63 in that heat. Heat 5 now. Lane 1 is Cale McCann, 14-year-old swimming unattached this weekend. Lane 2, Peter Kovacs, 13-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. Lane 3, Eli Baker, 14-year-old from Fort Wayne. Lane 4, Eddie Zhu, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 5, Emmanuel Jackson, 14-year-old from the Greenwood Gators. Lane 6, Max Seraphin Odell, 14-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. Lane 7, Tekaru Wheatley, 13-year-old from Riverside Aquatics Club. And in lane 8, Kellen Whitehouse, 13-year-old from Irish Aquatics. And we've seen Eddie Zhu, who's in lane 4 in this event, win a couple events already this weekend at the IU Natatorium. In this age group, he won the 1650, and he also won the 500 free as well. We'll see how he does in the 200 free. He's the top seeded swimmer in this heat in lane 4. He's going to have the lead at the halfway mark. We'll see what his halfway split is. It's 52.06. In second place in lane 3 is Eli Baker. He went out in a 52.88. Eddie makes the turn. One would figure he'd have a really good closing 50, you would think, being a more of a distance swimmer. So Eddie Zhu's going to cruise on into victory here in Heat 5. We'll see what his winning time is. It's going to be 1:48.07. That's his fastest time so far with one heat to go. Second place was Peter Kovacs in lane 2, 1:52.25. Sixth and final heat now. In lane 1, Rylan Hayerly, 14-year-old from the Otters. Lane 2 is Josh Brown, 14-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 3, Carter Schultz, 14-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 4, Leo Nye, 14-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 5, James Hinch, 13-year-old from Fort Wayne. Lane 6, Liam Hayward, 14-year-old from Noblesville. Lane 7, Alex Koo, 14-year-old from Fishers Area. And lane 8, Carter Barsich, 14-year-old from Brownsburg Swim Club. Leo Nye in lane 4 is the top seeded swimmer in the event. Seed time is 1:47.14. We'll take a 5-minute break in competition here on our webcast on the South Pool here, and the boys' prelims this morning after this race. Opening 50 complete. Carter Schultz in lane 3 has the lead. He went out in a 24.99. And Schultz is going to lead at the halfway mark as well in lane 3. We'll see what his halfway split is. It's 52.13. In second place in lane 4, Nye out in a 52.69. Nye took over the lead off that turn. He'll lead in lane 4 with a 50 to go. Coming on in lane 5 is Hinch as he's going to challenge Carter Schultz, it looks like, for second on this final 50. Final turn for the leader, Nye, far end of the pool. Good closing 50 here for James Hinch. He's going to finish second in the heat. Let's see what Leo Nye's winning time is. It's going to be 1:48.65. James Hinch second in the heat and a time of 1:49.82. So I believe Zhu from the previous heat, 1:48.07 to be top seed tonight in event 66, 13-14 boys, 200-yard freestyle. We've got a 5-minute break coming up now here in the South Pool for the boys' prelims, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes with the start of event boys 11, 12-year-olds 50-yard backstroke. Next up is event 68, 11-12 boys, 50-yard backstroke prelims. 6 heats of prelims. Meet and association record set in 2019 by Lancaster Carmel 25-41. In heat 1, in lane 1, Tyler Smith, 12-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 2, Hudson Wilhelm, 11-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic. Lane 3, Jason Yang, 11-year-old from Boilermaker. Lane 4, Wyatt Jones, 11-year-old from Greater Evansville. Lane 5, Grayson Wells, 11-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 6 is Tyler Johnson, 11-year-old from Carmel Swim Club. Lane 7, it'll be Pratish Satish Kumar, 11-year-old from Avon Community. And in lane 8, Joseph Johanneman, 12-year-old from Fishers area. Just down and back backstroke here. In this event, 50 yards at the wall. Your wind's going to go to lane 8, Joseph Johanneman, 32.27. And it doesn't look like the second. Well, we actually had a tie for first, 32.27 between Johanneman and Jason Yang in lane 3. Heat 2, lane 1 will be Graham Lindewall, 11-year-old from Munster Swim Club. Lane 2, Wyatt Whetstone, 11-year-old from Tippecanoe Valley. Lane 3, Byron Young, 11-year-old from Brownsburg Swim Club. Lane 4 is Bryce Connor, 11-year-old from Noblesville Swim Club. Lane 5, Blake Hadley, the 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 6 is Callum McKitty, 11-year-old from Duneland. Lane 7, Max Schroeder, 11-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. And in lane 8, Brecken Luckett, the 11-year-old from Fort Wayne Swim Team.
Swimmers and coaches, there will not be a break before the relays. There will be no break before the relays. There will be a 15-minute break after the relays before heading into the 1,000 free.
At the wall here, it's going to go, the wind will go to lane 2, Wyatt Whetstone, at a time of 31.53. Second place, Blake Hadley, 31.57. Heat 3. In lane 1 will be Ian Raghavendra, 12-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Lane 2, Jack Douglas, 12-year-old from Valparaiso. Lane 3, Cooper Glenser, 12-year-old from Jay County. Lane 4, Victor Martin, the 11-year-old from Flashes Aquatics. Lane 5, Levi Maringer, 12-year-old from Jasper Aquatic. Lane 6, Lucian Sipe, 12-year-old from Fort Wayne Swim Team. Lane 7, Carter Kellett, 11-year-old Carmel Swim Club. And in lane 8, Caleb Witherington, 12-year-old from the Wave Swim Club. Heat 3 of 6 preliminary heats, 50-yard backstroke for 11-12 boys. It's like lane 8 out in front at the bottom of your screen here. He'll take the heat and does so in a time of 30.06 for Caleb Witherington. Second place was Jack Douglas in lane 2, 31.01. Heat 4 in lane 1, Rowan Sievers, 12-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 2, Elijah Fishman, 12-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 3, Justin Yang, 12-year-old from Portage Porpoise. Lane 4, Malachi Michael, 12-year-old from Capital Aquatics. Lane 5, Patrick Collins, 12-year-old from Summit City. Lane 6, Liam McKenzie, 12-year-old from East Central Swim Team. Lane 7, Eli Johnson, 12-year-old from Indian Creek Swim Club. And in lane 8, we have Lin Ru An, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. First of our 3 circle-seated heats here in the 50-yard backstroke event for the 11-12 boys. Lane 5 is going to take the win in the heat. That's Patrick Collins in a time of 29.02. That's the fastest time so far. Second place in the heat, Justin Yang, 29.95. Heat 5, in lane 1 we'll have Ethan Cummins, 12-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 2, Jackson Teskey, 12-year-old from the Noblesville Swim Club. Lane 3, Austin Pritz, 12-year-old from Boilermaker Aquatics. Lane 4, Everett Heiser, 12-year-old from the Zionsville Swim Club. Lane 5, Kiari Slater, 12-year-old from the Zionsville Swim Club. Lane 6, Andrew Schreier, 12-year-old from Brownsburg Swim Club. Lane 7 is Seth Thomas, 12-year-old from Milan Aquatics. And then lane 8, Brady Ledeen, 11-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Everett Heiser from Zionsville in control of this heat in lane 4. He'll stop the clock in a winning time of 28:88. That's the fastest time now with 1 heat to go. Second place, Andrew Schreier in the heat, 29:87. Sixth and final heat of prelims in lane 1, Colby Sewell, 12-year-old from Flashes Aquatics. Lane 2, Matthew Quadros, 12-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Lane 3, Cooper McQuiston, 12-year-old from Oak Hill Swim Club. Lane 4, Jackson Russell, 12-year-old from Plainfield Community. Lane 5, Lucas Steffen, 12-year-old from Franklin Regional. Lane 6, Kingston Snyder, 11-year-old from the Boonville Dolphins. Lane 7 is Trevor Smith, 11-year-old from Franklin Regional. And in lane 8, we have Noah Connor, 12-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Final heat here, event 68, 11-12 boys, 50-yard backstroke prelims. Good underwater work by Russell off the start in lane 4. Has him about a 3/4 of a body length lead as he completes the only turn of this race. And Jackson's going to win this heat, going to win it easily. In lane 4, Jackson Russell from Plainfield Community stops the clock in a winning time of 27:76. And he'll be the top seed tonight in the finals in this event. Second place, Cooper McQuiston in a time of 29:59 in that heat. Next up, event 70, 13-14 boys, 200-yard backstroke prelims. We have 5 heats of prelims. Wyatt Davis from Carmel Swim Club holds the meet record set in 2016 at a time of 1:49.38. Lancaster from Carmel, the association record, he set that mark in 2020. The time is 1:46.52. In heat 1, in lane 1, it's Eric Yu, 13-year-old from Boilermaker. Lane 2, Dylan Pacheco, 13-year-old from Lake Central Barracudas. Lane 3 is Braden Wright, 13-year-old from Noblesville Swim Club. Lane 4, Easton Gio, 13-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. Lane 5, Nathan Sackett, 13-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 6 is Kai Paredes, 13-year-old from Riviera. Lane 7, Michael Zhao, 13-year-old from Avon Community. And in lane 8, we have Moses Weaver, 13-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. So 200-yard backstroke, short course, a lot of turns that you have to negotiate. And underwater swimming as well off the walls. Looks like the lead here in lane 5 is Sackett from Summit City. Coming up on the halfway mark. He's coming underneath the flags right now. He'll count those strokes as he goes into the wall and he'll make his turn here. Halfway split is a 101.63 for Nathan Sackett. Second place in lane 4 right now is Gio from Indiana Swim Club. And Sackett coming up on a 50 to go now here in lane 5. Gio makes the turn. He's in second place. Good battle for third behind them. Looks like Pacheco in lane 2 has the spot right now. Win in the opening heat will go to Nathan Sackett. He led the heat wire to wire. His winning time is 2:07.34. And second place was Easton Gio on a time of 2:08.58. Heat 2. In lane 1 it'll be Joshua Sayuz Itzke, 13-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 2, Dylan Wong, 14-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 3, Kellen Whitehouse, 13-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 4, Rush Curry, 14-year-old from Tri-West. Lane 5, Connor Fletchall, the 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 6, Nathan Whitaker, 13-year-old from Newburgh Sea Creatures. Lane 7, Tyler Ritson, 13-year-old from the Terre Haute Torpedoes. And in Lane 8, Caden Askren, 14-year-old from Fishers area. Heat 2 of 5 prelim heats here. 13-14 boys 200-yard backstroke event. 8 lengths of the pool. At the 50, Rush in lane 4 with the lead.
Coaches and swimmers need to scratch in event 60. 11 and 12 boys, 100 breaststroke. Hudson Wilhelm from Center Grove is now the first alternate. Reckon Leggett from Fort Wayne swim team is now the second alternate. We got that in event 60, 11 and 12 boys.
At the halfway mark, it looks like lane 3 is going to have a slight advantage here. That's Kellen Whitehouse. He's out in a 1:00.55 from Irish Aquatics.
Here are the results of preliminary swims. 13-14 girls, 2 and 3. The second alternate, mostly tied. First alternate, 2. The consolation final, Beasley, Higgins, Howard.
50 to go. Still Whitehouse out in front here in this heat over Rush Curry, who's right below Whitehouse in lane 4.
13-14 girls, 2 and 3. Barnes, Frankie, Williams, Floyd, Fetters, Carlisle, Wolf, the top seed in the Carmel Swim Club. Faith Corey, time 11:51:01. Time now 10:34.
Now coming on now is Rush Curry in lane 4. Looks like he's gotten around Whitehouse here. And he's bringing a swimmer in lane 5 right with him. That's Connor Fletchall here at the finish. The wind and the heat will go to Rush Curry in a time of 2:05.77. Second place, Connor Fletchall in a time of 2:06.78. Heat 3 moving into the circle seated heats. In lane 1, Garrett Klein, 14-year-old from Newburgh Sea Creatures. Lane 2, Eli Baker, 14-year-old from Fort Wayne. Lane 3, Preston Lamp, 13-year-old from the Newburgh Sea Creatures. Lane 4, Jackson Pyle, 14-year-old from Summit City. Lane 5, Noah Moeller, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 6, Liam Hayward, 14-year-old from the Noblesville Swim Club. Lane 7, Curtis Markowski, a 14-year-old from Irish Aquatics. And in lane 8, we have Reed Johnson, 14-year-old from Boilermaker Aquatics. Jackson Pyle in lane 4 is one of your 3 fastest seated swimmers in this event, the 200-yard backstroke for the 13-14 boys.
Need a coaching representative from Rochester. Coaching representative from Rochester, please come to the head table. Here now the results of preliminary swims. 13-14
Out
boys, 2
with the
and
lead
3.
after the opening 50 is Noah Moeller in lane 5 from the Carmel Swim Club.
Benjamin Lopez of Summit City and Rylan Harley of the Honor Swim Team to determine 16th position and first alternate for 13-14 boys 200 freestyle. The rest of the consolation final heat, Hayward, Sarahfield, Westlake,
Looks like Moeller's going to continue to lead in lane 5 at the halfway mark. His lead over Jackson Pyle is about a half a body length. Moeller splits the opening 158.64 to a 59.45 for Pyle. Pyle is from Summit City. Top 2 considerably out in front over everybody else in this heat here in heat 3. Coming up on a 50 to go now for Noah Moeller in lane 5.
need to see a coaching representative from Franklin.
Third place in the heat here in lane 6 is Liam Hayward from Noblesville.
Coaching representative from Franklin Regional and Flash Aquatics.
One turn to go for the leader, Moeller, at the far end of the pool. Takes that couple dolphin kicks off the wall and now heads for home.
12 girls 50 backstroke. Potential swim off for second alternate between Frankie Curry of Tri-West.
And the winning time for Noah Moeller will be 2:00 flat for Moeller. That's the fastest time. Second place in the heat to Jackson Pyle, and a time of 2:01.79. Heat 4 now. In lane 1, Alex Harrell, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 2 is Carter Schultz, 14-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 3, Alex Koo, 14-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 4, William Allen, 14-year-old from Carmel Swim Club. Lane 5, Jake Schroeder, 14-year-old from LaPorte Community. Lane 6 is Bryce Lowe, 13-year-old from Carmel Swim Club. Lane 7, Peter Kovacs, 13-year-old from Indiana Swim Club. And lane 8, Cameron Mazdai, 13-year-old from the Center Grove Aquatic Club. Lane 5, Jake Schroeder, a good start here in this heat. He leads at the 50. Halfway mark, good battle here, lanes 4 and 5. It's William Allen in 4 and Jake Schroeder in 5. It's Allen officially with the lead. His halfway split 57-27 to the 57-51 for Jake Schroeder. Allen, one of our 2 fastest seeded swimmers in this event. His seed time is only 1/100th of a second off the seed time of our top seeded swimmer, our next heat, Corey Hahn. 1:59.04 for Hahn, 1:59.05 for Allen. Allen starting to extend his lead here. Final 50 for him in lane 4 here of the 200-yard backstroke event. And so for Allen, his winning time in the heat is going to be 1:57.35. That's a good swim for him. That's about a second and a half below his seed time. Second place, Jake Schroeder, 2:01.39. Heat 5 now, final heat of prelims, event 70, 13-14 boys, 200-yard backstroke. In lane 1, Rylan Hayerly, 14-year-old from the Otters. Lane 2 is Max Serafinodal, 14-year-old Indiana Swim Club. Lane 3, we have Cale McCann, 14-year-old. We've talked about him this weekend. He's swimming unattached. Lane 4 is Corey Hahn, 14-year-old from Carmel Swim Club. Lane 5, Benjamin Lopez, 14-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Lane 6, Daniel Jones, 14-year-old from Summit City. Lane 7 is Harry Bruner, 13-year-old from the Concord Swim Club. And in lane 8, Charlie Brewer, 14-year-old from Power Aquatics. Our final heat here of prelims, 13-14 boys, 200-yard backstroke. Our next event will be event 74, 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle relay time final. Be no break either in competition. We're going to move right into the relay on the broadcast. Your lead after the opening 50 in this heat of the 200-yard backstroke event. In lane 4 is Corey Hahn from the Carmel Swim Club.
All right, corrected preliminary results, 13-14 boys, 100 breaststroke, second alternate Norton, first alternate Thomas.
Lopez from Summit City is staying right with Hahn here at the halfway mark. Hahn, the top seed. 56.98 the split time for Hahn at the 100-yard mark. Lopez split at 57.84. Top 2 have gotten away from the rest of the field here in this heat.
Event 62, 13-14 boys, 100 breaststroke. Now we'll finalize the events.
Coming up on the 150 mark here. Just about a body length lead for Corey Hahn from Carmel Swim Club over Benjamin Lopez. Final turn complete. Looks like Corey Hahn, lane 4, is going to win the heat. Winning time for Corey is 1:57.34, and he's going to take the top seed by 1/100th of a second over William Allen. And we talked about that just a moment ago. He was 1/100th of a second seated quicker than Allen on the heat sheet, and that's what he wins the prelims by, is 1/100th of a second. That's pretty amazing. Second place in the heat, Benjamin Lopez. So Corey Hahn, your top seed tonight in event 70, 13-14 boys, 200-yard backstroke. Moving into the relays now. Event 74, 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle relay. 4 heats of time finals, meaning the overall winner and point scoring positions can come out of any 4 of our heats. In Heat 1, Lane 3, Brownsburg B, led off by Andrew Nail. Lane 4 is Franklin Regional B with Cooper Finney on leadoff. And Lane 5, Irish B, led off by Sawyer Cannon. Each swimmer will swim 50 yards freestyle. Number 2 swimmers, Brownsburg B, Maxwell Weaver. Franklin Regional B, Deuce Calloway. And Irish B, Clark Stevens. With the lead here in lane 4, Franklin Regional B. As we go to our number 3 swimmers, let's take a look at those athletes. For Brownsburg B, Owen Kopp. Franklin Regional B, Braden McCallops. And Irish B is Alex Kavratskhelia. Anchor legs upcoming here, opening heat. 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle relay time final. Franklin Regional B out in front. Let's take a look at the anchor leg swimmers. For Brownsburg B, it's Byron Young. For Franklin Regional B, Joshua Frazier. And for Irish B, Thomas Wanling. At the wall here, Brownsburg comes from behind on the anchor leg. 27-53 split on the anchor by Brownsburg, and they go take the win there. I believe it was 157.95, I think. They took it down quickly there. You'll have to check Meet Mobile for that time. Brownsburg from Heat 1. Heat 2, Lane 1, Riviera A will be led off by Liam Joyce. Lane 2, Crown Point A, led off by Jackson Barnes. Lane 3, Zionsville B, led off by Cooper Barron. Lane 4, Munster A, with Graham Lindewald on leadoff. Lane 5, Southeastern A, PJ Key on leadoff. Lane 6, Fishers Area B, led off by Tyler Smith. Lane 7 is Carmel D. And we don't have names for Carmel D. I apologize. Lane 8, Valparaiso A, led off by Charlie Patterson. Number 2 swimmers here for Heat 2, Riviera A, Eli Silverstrini. Crown Point A, Dean Snyder. Zionsville B, Adam Morgan. Munster A, Andrew Espiritu Jorzik. Southeastern A, Carter Nelson. Fishers Area B, Rodrigo Sanchez. And Valparaiso A, Jacob Kowalarsik. Your lead in lane 7 here belongs to Carmel D in this second heat of 4-time finals. 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle relay. Number 3 swimmers, Riviera A, Bennett Rogers. Crown Point A, Patrick McLaughlin. Zionsville B, Mac Ellender. Munster A, Mark Mayo. Southeastern A, Sawyer Green Whitehead. Fishers Area B, Eli Creekbaum. And Valparaiso A, Jose Matias Cespedes. In the lead right now, Southeastern A in lane 5 as we get ready for the anchor leg swimmers. Let's take a look at those athletes here. For Riviera A, Luke Bramas. Crown Point A, Lucas Casey. Zionsville B, Joshua Binyard. Munster A, Timothy Newell. Southeastern A, Jaden Paul. Fishers Area B, Jasper Young. Valparaiso A, Henry Patterson. Looks like Carmel D in lane 7 may have taken the lead back. They lost it on the third leg to Southeastern A, but they've gotten it back here. They're going to win the second heat, Carmel D will, in a time of 1:52.45. Second place, Southeastern A, 1:53.69. Heat 3, time finals, 11-12 boys, 200-yard freestyle relay. Fourth and final heat is the fastest seeded heat. It'll swim tonight in the final session, which gets started at 4:30 p.m. here, the IU Natatorium on the Indiana Swimming YouTube channel broadcast. Heat 3, lane 1, Fort Wayne A, led off by Lucian Sipe. Lane 2, Irish A, led off by Grayson Wells. Lane 3, Brownsburg A, led off by Preston Huff. Lane 4 is Carmel B. Apologies, we don't have any names for the Carmel B team. Lane 5, Capital A, Bryce Stillwell. Lane 6, Noblesville A, led off by Jackson Teskey. Lane 7 is Carmel C. No names given to us on the heat sheet for that team either. And lane 8, Boilermaker A, led off by Jason Yang.
I didn't know they were on the back of these seat sheets. I didn't think we got it.
Number 2 swimmers here for Fort Wayne A, Brecken Luckett. Irish A, Matthew Laneman. Brownsburg A, Andrew Schreier. Capital A, Arthur Kaiser. Noblesville A, Bryce Connor. And Boilermaker A, Jackson Ersland. Your lead right now, and it's a tight race in lanes 3 and 4. Brownsburg A and Carmel B on this second leg, with a very slight lead for Carmel A. Or Carmel B, excuse me. Let's take a look at our number 3 swimmers for Fort Wayne A, Alex Fritz. Irish A, Braden Selyuhitsky. Brownsburg A, William Kinter. Capital A, Andrew Bowling. Noblesville A, Zach Biddle. And for Boilermaker A, Reed Leeper. Still a real close battle between Brownsburg A and Carmel B, lanes 3 and 4. As we're getting ready for our anchor legs here, let's take a look at those swimmers. Fort Wayne A, Everett Walter. Irish A, Ethan Cummins. Brownsburg A, Suleiman Tara. Capital A, Malachi Michael. Noblesville A, Brady Monger. And for Boilermaker A, Austin Pritz. It's Carmel B out in lane 4 with the lead, coming to the finish here. Looks like they'll take the heat win here, Carmel B, in a time of 1:48.61, and that'll be the time to beat as we head towards the fourth and final heat of time finals, which will take place tonight in the final session. Second place is Brownsburg A in that heat. Event 76, 13-14 boys, 400-yard freestyle relay time finals. 4 heats of time finals. And the fastest seeded heat, Heat 4, will swim tonight with finals. So we'll have 3 heats in this session. Again, it's a time final, so the winner out of any of these heats can take the overall win and score point scoring positions. Heat 1, lane 3, Center Grove Aquatic Club B, led off by Moses Weaver. Lane 4, Fishers Area B with Eli Francis on leadoff. Lane 5 is Franklin Regional A with Alexander Reese on leadoff. Each individual swimming 100 yards freestyle. Meet record set in 2019 by Carmel, 3:15.31. Carmel holds the association record set a year later, 3:08.77. So big lead here on the opening leg by Franklin Regional A, a pretty strong leadoff swimmer in Alexander Reese. Number 2 swimmers about ready to take the pool. Franklin Regional with the large lead. Let's take a look at number 2 swimmers here from the opening heat. Center Grove Aquatic B, Jack Udersols. Fishers Area B, Caden Iskren. And Franklin Regional A, Seth Russell. Good battle for second, Center Grove Aquatic B and Fishers Area B. Halfway through the second leg here is Seth Russell for Franklin Regional. They're out in front, opening heat of time finals. First of 4 time final heats here, 13-14 boys, 400-yard freestyle relay again. The 4th heat will swim in the final session tonight. Getting ready for our third legs. Let's take a look at those swimmers. Center Grove Aquatic B is Gabe Sunga. Fishers Area B, Ethan Mai. And for Franklin Regional A, Jaden Rowland.
Before we start the girls' 1,000 freestyle, that'll be just about 11:07. About 11:07 when we start the 1,000 free for girls in row 4.
Franklin Regional has been in control of this opening heat right from the get-go. Alexander Reese built up a huge lead, and they have not let up so far. We're on the third leg right now. It's like they're en route to setting the time to beat here for the rest of the field in this event. Take a look at the anchor swimmers here. Center Grove B, it'll be Nate Smith. Nate Smith. Fishers Area B, Hagan Lee, and for Franklin Regional A, Eli Demery. In that battle for second right now in this opening heat, it belongs to Fishers Area B. Center Grove B still right there. 50 to go now for Franklin Regional. Yeah, it looks like the athlete for Franklin Regional, the anchor leg, Demery, his goggles have fallen down off his eyes down below around his neck here. So he's got that to deal with here, but he only has half lap to go. He's got a big lead for his team in the event, but the issue is it's a time final, so it may affect the overall time a little bit as he's swimming without his goggles, but he did a good job. Nevertheless, Franklin Regional A wins the opening heat in a time of 3:37.45. Second place is Center Grove A in the heat. We'll move to heat 2 now. In lane 1, Summit City B, Nicholas Norton leads it off. Our leadoff swimmers here. We'll read those names off here for you. LaPorte Community A, Jake Schroeder on leadoff. Lane 3, Greenwood Gators A, led off by David Brenton. Lane 4, Capital A, led off by Samuel Byers. Lane 5 is Carmel D. We don't have any names on our heat sheet for that team. Lane 6, Concord A, led off by Harry Bruner. Lane 7, Crown Point A, led off by Lucas Barnes. And lane 8, Lake Central A, led off by Cameron Mosley. Lane 2 here is LaPorte A with the lead. We start the second leg. Let's take a look at number 2 swimmers for Summit City B, Josiah Collins. For LaPorte A, Landon Gillespie. Greenwood A, Nick McCoy. Capital A, Isaac Michael. Concord A, Alex Gonzalez. Crown Point A, Abel Buell. And for Lake Central A, Dylan Pacheco. And now moving into contention for the lead here in lane 5 on the second leg is Carmel D. They'll take over the leg. They lead at the halfway mark of the second leg. Looks like they're bringing Concord A with them in lane 6. Although LaPorte's still hanging in there in lane 2. Three-way battle for the lead here, lanes 5, 6, and 7. Carmel D, Concord A, and Crown Point A. As we get ready for our number 3 swimmers, let's take a look at those athletes. Summit City B, Aaron Lazoff. LaPorte A, James Quadlin. Greenwood A, Griffin Kroll. Capital A, Eli Robeloff. Concord A, Toby Houston. Crown Point A, Lincoln Bryant, and for Lake Central A, Dion Stafford. Good race here, but still Carmel D out in front in lane 5 by about a body length over the team in lane 7, Crown Point A. 50 to go here on this third leg. Time to beat is 3:37.45, set by Franklin Regional A in our opening heat of this time final. Anchor legs coming up here shortly here in heat 2. 13-14 boys 400-yard freestyle relay. Carmel D is moved out to a pretty big advantage here on this third leg. Let's take a look at the anchor leg swimmers. For Summit City B, Daniel Jones. LaPorte A, Gavin Crail. Greenwood A, Emmanuel Jackson. Capital A, Eli Coomer. Concord A, Lucas Oliveros O'Connell. Crown Point A, Gabe Castillo. And for Lake Central A, Tim Hampton. Now a move has been made here in lane 4 by Capital. Coomer was shot out of a cannon, it looks like here. As he's taking his team around Carmel here with a 50 to go. Final turn by Coomer. He has had an outstanding anchor leg here. We'll get the split for you here in a minute. But Capital A is going to take the second heat. And their winning time is going to be 3:32.67. 26-22 that last 50 coming home for Coomer. Second place in the heat, Carmel D, 3:35.75. Heat 3, our final heat in this session. Fourth and final heat will swim tonight with finals. In heat 3, it'll be Southeastern A led off by Camden Bailey. Lane 2, Indiana A with Peter Kovacs on leadoff. Lane 3, Valparaiso A led off by Tommy Cospade. Lane 4, Newburgh Sea Creatures A, Jake Rogers. Lane 5, Carmel B. Lane 6 is Carmel C. No names on our heat sheet for the Carmel teams in this heat. Lane 7, Noblesville A, led off by Isaiah Vosen. And lane 8, Boilermaker A, led off by Reed Johnson. So the time to beat is 3:32.67 as we're into heat 3 of 4 time final heats. Event 76, 13-14 boys, 400-yard freestyle relay. This is a very competitive opening leg here on this relay. It looks like a slight lead here in lane 2 for Indiana A with Peter Kovacs. Take a look at the number 2 swimmers. Southeastern A, Andrew Liu. Indiana A, Max Serafinodal. Valparaiso A, Andrew Chin. Newburgh A, Nathan Whitaker. Noblesville A, Drew Setmeyer. And for Boilermaker A, Nick Lubman. Indiana A increases its lead to about 3/4 of a body length lead here over the team in lane 1, Southeastern A. Indiana A is in lane 2. Making the move here in this second leg. In lane 5 here is Carmel B. Let's take a look at our number 3 swimmers. Southeastern A, Alden Seals. Indiana A, Easton Zio. Valparaiso A, Joey Rojic. Newburgh A, Preston Lamp. Noblesville A, Joshua Noss. And Boilermaker A, Eric Yu. With Indiana A still leading in lane 2. In a battle for second in lane 1, Southeastern A, and Carmel B in lane 5. Carmel B has the spot right now in lane 5, and they're moving in on Indiana A and have drawn even with them with a 50 to go here on this third leg. That's Carmel B in lane 5. So Carmel B is going to open up more than a body length lead on this third leg at the completion of it. And we'll head to the anchor legs. Let's take a look at those swimmers. For Southeastern A, Josh Lawrence. Indiana A, Ethan Cheng. Valparaiso A, Dean Papakronis. Newburgh A, Garrett Klein. Noblesville A, Liam Hayward, and for Boilermaker A, Rocco Tajik. Once again, the time to beat to take over the lead in the event is 3:32.67 with 1 heat to go. Fastest seeded heat will swim tonight in the final session. 50 to go here now for Carmel B in lane 5, the leaders. And they have the lead over the team in lane 3, Valparaiso A. The anchor leg, Dean Papakronis, has come on a little bit for him here. It's gotten them back to about a body length lead here of the Carmel team with a length to go. But Papakronis is closing. I think he's going to run out of pool, though, to chase down Carmel B in lane 5. That's going to be the case. Carmel B will take the heat in a time of 3:28.82. That's the fastest time going into tonight's session. Second place, Valparaiso A, 3:29.68 in the heat. I believe we're going to take a 15-minute break in the competition here on the South Pool. Our next event will be event 72, 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle time final. The fastest seeded heat, which is heat 1 on your heat sheet, will swim tonight with finals. So we'll have 3 heats in this session, heats 2, 3, and 4 on your heat sheet for the 13-14 boys 1,000-yard freestyle. That'll take place in 15 minutes. There's going to be a 15-minute break here in competition on the South Pool. So we'll come back with that in about 15 minutes or so. I think somewhere within this 15-minute break, we're going to have 2 swim-offs, too, here in the South Pool. $11, 12-year-old boys 50-yard backstroke swim off. The first swim off, I believe, is to determine the second alternate. 11, 12 boys, 50-yard backstroke. The second swim off will be the 13-14 boys 200-yard freestyle event. And it's a swim off to determine the 16th place, which is the last qualifying spot in the consolation final. So those are the 2 swim offs that will be coming up here in a moment. All right, here we go with a swim off. 11, 12 boys, 50-yard backstroke swim off. Lane 4, Victor Martin from Flashes Aquatics, and lane 5, Trevor Smith from Franklin Regional. Again, this is a swim off to determine the second alternate. That would be the second alternate for the consolation final between Victor Martin and Trevor Smith here. And it looks like the wind's going to go to Trevor Smith in lane 5. 30.76 his time in the 50 back, so he'll be the second alternate. 11, 12 boys, 50-yard backstroke consolation final tonight. And our second swim-off coming up here is going to be for in the 13-14 boys 200-yard freestyle, a swim-off. This is to determine who makes the consolation final. This is for the 16th spot out of prelims this morning. The winner will move in. The winner of this swim off will move into the constellation final. In lane 4, it'll be Rylan Hayerly, a 14-year-old from the Otters swim team, and in lane 5, Benjamin Lopez, 14-year-old from Summit City Aquatics. Swim off, 13-14 boys, 200-yard freestyle for the final spot in the constellation final tonight. 8 lengths of the pool. Kind of a tough event to have to swim twice in one session, the 200 freestyle. I'm sure these guys are up to it, though. We've lots of times seen faster swims in the swim-offs than we see in the actual prelim swim itself. So we'll see what happens here. Ryan Hayerly in lane 4 and Benjamin Lopez in lane 5. Here in the swim off. 13-14 boys, 200-yard freestyle. Opening 50 complete here. Pretty much dead even between Hayerly and Lopez, with Rylan slight lead. .100 yards complete now in this swim off. The lead in lane 1 is Lopez, halfway split 56.82 to the 57.03 for Hayerly. And the winner of this swim off will move into the consolation final tonight in the 200-yard freestyle event for the 13-14 boys. With a 50 to go, it's Lopez out in front in lane 5 from Summit City Aquatics over Ryan Hayerly from Ryan is from the Otters swim team. Rylan is. Looks like it's going to be Benjamin Lopez who's going to win this swim off in a time of 1:54 flat, and he'll move into the consolation final tonight in the event. Pretty close to what he swam his prelim swim in time of 1:53.03. His prelim swim 1:54 flat in the swim off. So our break's going to continue here. We're going to have a short break still to continue here before we get on into event 72, 13-14 boys 1,000-yard freestyle. And we'll be back with that in about 10 minutes or so. ready to go here with Heat 2. Event 72, 13-14 boys, 1,000 freestyle. Heat 1 will swim tonight with finals. It's the fastest seeded heat in Heat 2. Lane 1, Shane Kelly, 13-year-old from the Brownsburg Swim Club. Lane 2, Jack Street, 13-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 3 is Aiden Clark, 14-year-old from the Carmel Swim Club. Lane 4, Gareth Thomas, 13-year-old from Carmel Swim Club. Lane 5, Caden Askren, 14-year-old from Fishers area. Lane 6, Gavin Crail, 14-year-old from LaPorte Community. Lane 7, Reed Johnson, 14-year-old from Boilermaker. Lane 8, Carter Barsich, 14-year-old from the Brownsburg Swim Club. 1,000-yard freestyle. 40 lengths of the pool. It's a time final. Each swimmer has a lap counter at the far end of the pool. Meet record set in 2014 by Michael Brenninger, 9:21.42. Michael Klee, the association record that goes back to 2002, 9:20.32. Do not expect either one of those records to be challenged here today in this event. 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle. Early lead here in lane 5 belongs to Caden Askren from, or actually, excuse me, it's now let's reset the field for you here.
Maybe it's on the scoreboard.
All right, let's go with what's on the scoreboard here. It looks like our heat sheet is wrong. Lane 1 is Shane Kelly. Lane 2 is Jack Street. Lane 3, Aiden Clark. Lane 4 is Gareth Thomas. Lane 5, Will Snyder. Lane 6, Gavin Crail. Lane 7 is Reed Johnson. Lane 8, Connor Barsich. So Snyder from Fort Wayne in lane 5 is the leader. Ten lengths complete for Snyder in lane 5, leading over Aiden Clark, who's in lane 3. Heat 2 of 4-time final heats, 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle. Battling now with Snyder for the lead is Clark in lane 3. Battle for third, lanes 1 and 2 here. You have Shane Kelly in 1 and Jack Street in 2. .400-yard mark coming up here at the starting block end this time for your leader, Will Snyder, in the 1,000. All these young men out there will have had a race strategy developed with their coaches and in practice for this event. And they'll try and pretty much stick to that strategy. Of course, if it comes down to it and they've got somebody to race at the end, certainly the goal is going to be to beat the individual you're racing with at that point in time. But the strategy right now is probably what's dictating the race for most of these young men. We have Will Snyder and Aiden Clark battling for the lead here. Heat 2 of the 1,000. Halfway mark, pretty much even at the flip turn between Aiden Clark in 3 and Snyder in 5. Clark a little bit quicker on that last 50, 31.73 to 31.86 for Snyder. Quicker swimmer in the pool, though, looks like it's Shane Kelly in lane 1 from Brownsburg as he's trying to close in on those top 2 here on the back half. Check the splits again between the top 3 here at this turn. 31.23 for Snyder, 31.45 for Clark, 31.63 for Kelly. So that time it's Will Snyder in lane 5 as your fastest swimmer in the pool. And he has the lead in the race. Will Snyder's from Fort Wayne. 31.31, 31.95 for Clark, and 31.35. So as Kelly was closing in a little bit, it looks like Will Snyder's answered back a little bit and has been the fastest swimmer in the pool the last 100 yards. Kelly, though, is closing in on Clark for second. Kelly in lane 1, Clark in lane 3. Get the split times again, 31.49 for Snyder, 31.79 for Clark, 31.41 for Kelly. So Kelly, the fastest swimmer in the pool on that last 50 over Snyder by about 8/100ths. .49 the split time for Snyder. 31.47 for Kelly in lane 1, a second fastest swimmer. Just by 2/100ths of a second, though, so he's not gaining a lot of ground on Snyder, the leader. Kelly currently in 3rd spot behind Aiden Clark. That's the best battle, though, for second, lanes 1 and 3. Coming up on 10 laps to go in the race now for your leader, Will Snyder, in lane 5 here at the starting block end. 31.64 for him, 31.61 for Kelly, and 31.51 for Clark. So Clark was the fastest amongst those 3 on that last 50. He's in 2nd place in lane 3. Doing battle with Shane Kelly for 2nd spot.
Fans, don't forget to give us your input.
31.55 the split time for Snyder, fastest swimmer in the pool. 31.65 for Kelly. He's second quickest. Still has not, he officially, I guess, has gotten around Clark on the scoreboard in lane 1 for 2nd spot, but Clark's still right there, though.
Is just above the heat sheet QR code. And if you take a few minutes and complete the survey, give us your input, let us know what worked well.
31.19 for Snyder. 31.68 for Clark. 31.84 for Kelly. Kelly in 2nd place. Coming up on 100 yards to go for your leader, Will Snyder, in lane 5 is when he gets to the starting block end. Second place in lane 1, Shane Kelly. Will Snyder is going to hear the bell this time at the starting block end, signifying 2 lengths to the pool left here in the 1,000. If he can hang on and take the win, he'll set the time to beat for our remaining 3 heats in the 13-14 boys 1,000-yard freestyle. There's the bell for Snyder. Second place, Kelly has 2nd spot. We'll see if Aiden Clark can take it away from him here on this last 50. comes Will Snyder. He's going to stop the clock in a time of 10:22.74. That's the time to beat. Will Snyder. Second place goes to Shane Kelly in the heat, 10:24.2, 10:24.10, excuse me. Third place, Aiden Clark, 10:24.69. Two more swims in this session. Heat 3 coming up on your heat sheet. 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle. In lane 2, it'll be Zach Groniger, 13-year-old from Center Grove Aquatic Club. Lane 3, Reese Dumkowski, 13-year-old from Fort Wayne. Lane 4, Camden Bailey, 14-year-old from the Southeastern Swim Club. Lane 5, Landon Gillespie, 13-year-old from the Port Community. Lane 6 is Bryce Salvadori, 13-year-old from the Southeastern Swim Club. And in lane 7, Josh Lawrence, 13-year-old from the Southeastern Swim Club. So we're underway. Heat 3 of the 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle, 40 lengths of the pool. It's like the early lead here in lane 4 is going to go to Camden Bailey from the Southeastern Swim Club. In the 1,000, the time to beat's 10:22.74 by Will Snyder. Out in the opening 100 is Camden Bailey in a time of 58.69. Take a moment to thank our sponsors making the broadcast possible here this morning on the Indiana Swimming YouTube channel. Speedo is an official sponsor of the Indiana Swimming LSC and all championship meets. And we also have Ellsmore Swim Shop. The Ellsmore Swim Shop is the official supplier and sponsor of Indiana Swimming and Team Indiana. Indiana Swimming would like to wish all this weekend's competitors good luck and fast times. Indiana Swimming provides progressive, innovative programs that inspire excellence. And a reminder that after the 1,000 is complete, we'll take a break in our broadcast schedule, and we'll come back this afternoon at 1:30 p.m. for the 10 and under session. On Sunday afternoon, both the boys and the girls 10 and under session all contested in the same pool, the South Competition Pool here at the IU Natatorium. Finals tonight will begin at 4:30 p.m. That'll be our final broadcast of this event, the 2023 Indiana Swimming Age Group Short Course Championship, sponsored by Speedo. Right now in lane 3 here, coming up on the completion of lap 18 here in heat 3 is Tomkowski from Fort Wayne, ahead of Camden Bailey in lane 4 here in heat 3. 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle, so we had a lead change after our initial update. Be halfway through the race this time by for Reese. Tomkowski halfway through the race. And he's out in front of Camden Bailey, who's in second place from the Southeastern Swim Club here. I want to just pass along an announcement here that coming up on April 15th on the Indiana Swimming YouTube channel, we'll have coverage of the 2023 Indiana High School Swimming and Diving Hall of Fame banquet. That'll take place at 7 o'clock p.m. on that particular day. You can catch that here on the Indiana Swimming YouTube channel. The newest class of inductees will be inducted into the Hall of Fame that evening. Reese Domkowski, your leader here in lane 3 from Fort Wayne. He's headed back to the starting block end, and he'll have 26 lengths complete of this 40-lap race. He's out in front of Camden Bailey in lane 4, and in third place in the heat here is Landon Gillespie of LaPorte. Fastest swimmer in the pool between those three is Domkowski, your leader, 32.34 on his last 50. 32.93 for Gillespie, who's in third place in lane 5. One more heat to go after this race. 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle in this session. Again, the heat 1 on your heat sheet, the fastest seeded heat will swim in with finals tonight. Our finals broadcast tonight on the Indiana Swimming YouTube channel begins at 4:30 p.m. Ten laps to go now for the leader, Reese Domkowski from Fort Wayne. Reese is a 13-year-old. Time to beat 10:22.74 from Will Snyder in the previous heat. Will also from the Fort Wayne swim team. Get the split times here for some of the participants in this heat on this particular 50. Domkowski at 32.05, the leader. Second place, Bailey splits at 32.71. Third place, Gillespie, 32.91. And fourth place, Salvadori, 33.23. So Domkowski's the quickest, and he is the leader. $32.91 for Reese. That time, Bryce Salvadori in fourth place in lane 6, just a little bit quicker than Reese. Bryce put a 32.77. He's in 4th place. And he's trying to close in on Gillespie, who's in lane 5. He's right above him. That would be a battle for 3rd if he can get up to him here. Bell lap coming up for the leader here, Reese Domkowski from Fort Wayne at the starting block end, this time by. Here's the bell. 2nd place, Camden Bailey. He's about ready to get the bell from the Southeastern Swim Club. Here comes your battle for 3rd. Lanes 5 and 6, Gillespie in 5, Salvadorian 6. 50 to go for each of those gentlemen. This heat's going to go to Reese Domkowski in lane 3 from Fort Wayne for the 13-year-old. And he's going to stop the clock in a time of 10:40.74. Excuse me, 10:40.75 for Reese Domkowski. 2nd place, Camden Bailey, 10:49.20, in that battle for 3rd. Landon Gillespie will take 3rd in the heat, 10:51.53 for him to the 10:53.73 for Bryce Salvadori. Final heat coming up here, 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle. We still have one athlete to finish here. Groniger in lane 2. He's headed to the finish right now, and then we'll get our next heat underway. All right, in heat 4, in lane 3, Sawyer Wells, 13-year-old from Irish Aquatics. Lane 4 is Cam Lasley, 13-year-old from Capital Aquatics. In lane 5, Jacob Tilton, 13-year-old from Boilermaker. So we've got 3 13-year-olds in this 4th and final heat of time finals. 13-14 boys, 1,000-yard freestyle with a time to beat, 10:22.74, posted by Will Snyder in what was effectively heat 2 on your heat sheet, because heat 1, the fastest seeded heat, will swim in finals tonight. So 40 lengths of the pool. Our final race of this session here in the South competition pool, the boys prelims on this Sunday morning. Girls prelims continuing with the thousands over on the North Pool, a separate webcast over there. And we have Noah Berryman and Cooper Van Driesch on that webcast. Sawyer Wells and Cam Lasley pretty much going out together early in this race. Through the opening 100 yards, 57.48 for Wells, 58.38 for Lasley. Now Sawyer opening things up a little bit on this second 100 over Lasley. Opening 200 complete for Sawyer Wells. He's going to go first 200 yards as a 1:59.60. Sawyer out early stages, 31.56 on his 50 just completed to a 33.75 for Lasley in second place. in the time to beat, 10:22.74 by Will Snyder. Just a smidge over 32 seconds on his last 50 for Wells in lane 3, 32.13.
Hey, swimmers and coaches, in the girls' pool, somebody inadvertently picked up Crown Point Swim Club jacket. It's got copper is embroidered on that jacket. Swimmers, if you inadvertently picked up the Crown Point Swim Club jacket in the North Pool, embroidered on that jacket is going to be the name copper. Please come up here and bring that up to the
Sawyer Wells, your leader. Second place, Cam Lasley. In heat 4 here, the 13-14 boys 1,000-yard freestyle. Third place, Jacob Tilton from Boilermaker Aquatics.
coaches, if you can talk to your swimmers a bit, just put down at the start and at the north end. Somebody picked up the girls' Indiana swimming.
1:30 this afternoon, our 10 and under session begins here from the South Competition Pool. So make sure you join us for that. It'll be archived as well if you miss any of it. Sawyer Wells in lane 3 from Irish Aquatics has led all the way so far. Fourth heated time finals here in the 13-14 boys 1,000-yard freestyle. And when he reaches the starting block end this time by, he'll be halfway through the race. Will Sawyer. Second place, Cam Lasley, about ready to complete his opening half of the race here in lane 4. Goes through the 500, 5:26.70, 5:12.60, I believe, was Wells' time. Let's check the splits here on this 50 for all of our 3 participants in this race. Sawyer Wells splitting a 32.46. Cam Lasley, here he comes. Let's make the flip turn at the starting block in. 33.76 for Lasley. And for Jacob Tilton, 33.51. So Tilton just a little bit quicker than Lasley. We'll see if that becomes a battle for second before this race is over. But Sawyer Wells is in control right now of this heat from the Irish Aquatics. One more heat to swim tonight. It's the fastest seeded heat, heat 1 on your heat sheet. And your top seeded swimmer will be Eddie Zhu from the Carmel Swim Club. His seed time is 10:06.70. Currently the time to beat is 10:22.74 from Will Snyder of Fort Wayne. .12 laps to go for the leader, Sawyer Wells. He split a 31.98 on his most recent 50. Check the splits between Cam Lasley and Jacob Tilton here, coming up with 12 laps to go for both of them. Cam swims a 34.05. And for Tilton, 34.01. So just 4/100ths of a second difference there. Tilton 4/100ths of a second quicker. Wells is considerably quicker than the other two at this point. Just under 10 laps to go for Sawyer Wells. Sawyer's looks like he's going to win this fourth heat from the Irish. 13-year-old. Coming up on a 150 to go now for Sawyer. Right now, it looks like Cam Lasley in lane 4. Certainly looks like he's going to take second place in the heat here. He's coming up on a 150 to go in lane 4. Wells now with 100 yards to go here in lane 3. He'll get the bell next time by here in the 1,000. Well, Sawyer's coming up on Lasley here with 50 to go, 50 yards to go. It might give him somebody to race with here on the final 50 if he chooses to do so. Now, Lasley just I think Lasley kicked it into gear a little bit with 100 to go for him. In lane 4. Final turn for Sawyer Wells. The time to beat is 10:22.74. He's not going to surpass that, but he's not going to be far off of it here for Sawyer. Sawyer Wells is going to stop the clock with a winning time in this heat of 10:32.28. Two more swimmers to complete their races here. They both received the bell here in Heat 4, the 13-14 boys 1,000-yard freestyle time final. And it's Cam Lasley from Capital Aquatics is going to get second in the heat. And for Cam, his time will be 11:01.40. Here comes Jacob Tilton from Boilermaker, finishing his race. And for Jacob Tilton, it's going to be 11:10.74. So your time to beat in our final session tonight, posted by Will Snyder, will be 10:22.74 in the 13-14 boys 1,000. The fastest seeded heat 1 on your heat sheet will swim tonight with finals. That's going to wrap up our coverage here on this Sunday morning from the boys prelims here in the South Competition Pool at the IU Natatorium on the campus of IUPUI in downtown Indianapolis, here at the 2023 Indiana Swimming Age Group Short Course Championship, sponsored by Speedo. Reminder to join us at 1:30 p.m. this afternoon for the Sunday 10 and under session. I'm Eric Eaton saying so long, everyone, and thanks for watching.